All right, we are welcoming Tyler Lake to the podcast today. You're the owner, CEO of Juggernaut Marketing and Consulting. Is that correct?
That is correct. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. We're curious about the name. Why Juggernaut?
That's funny. Came from a corporate background doing marketing, and then
Okay.
eventually, we may get into some of that stuff here on this show, but
Yeah.
ended up starting my own agency. We just celebrated our 5-year anniversary, which is awesome.
Let's go.
Yeah, and for a while there, just kind of did my own thing, worked from home. Kind of had my own book of business from referrals and my network that I knew. And one day decided, hey, I want to scale this thing and make it bigger and better and hire people and all of that. And during that process, just kind of found, I guess, my look and feel and the way I want to do things and the way that I approach
Mm.
things. And then eventually decided like, okay, I need to change the name of this to something that I can get behind and feels right and kind of accurately represents the kind of work that we feel that we do. And so Juggernaut came about. It was one of many things that was available, if you will. And I'm glad it was that because I love our brand, I love our name, and that's the other part too. I wanted a brand more so than just a name of
Mm.
a company. So um, it gives off the natural assumption that we must be good at marketing, and then the rest of it's up to us.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Um, so so you were marketing in big business and you switched over and decided to want to do your own thing. What got you into marketing originally? Like what led you down that path?
Um, it's of all things, I hunt and fish, and
Okay.
I've always been an entrepreneurial mind ever since I was a kid. And I was the kid that I would make these little like gecko keychain things out of the beads, if you remember those back in the day.
Yeah.
And so, like when my family would have yard sales, the yard sale would be lined up in the driveway, and I'd put my little table at the front of the thing, so they had to walk by me. You know, just a little pinch point. And I was a kid. I understood leverage when I was younger. But anyways, I got into college, and I got this little itch to create this like hunting and fishing apparel brand, and I did. It was called Backcountry Native. I sold it
Nice.
years and years ago, but basically my whole thing was, hey, if I'm going to be out there, I would like to have a brand and maybe make some money and sell hats and shirts. The problem was, I actually had my vehicle get stolen, and then insurance cashed me out with a check, and that I used that check to get my first run of hats and shirts printed. And then my grandma gave me her car. And so I'm not kidding. I was driving around with a box of apparel in the trunk of my grandma's car. And it dawned on me like, man, this is kind of tough selling hats and shirts door to door. Like I need to get on the internet, and I was broke. And so
Wow.
I had to teach myself how to, I think I downloaded Instagram for the first time, taught myself how to use MailChimp. Um, the guy that printed my hats and shirts, thanks Manny, he was kind enough to like build me a WordPress website and then turn it over to me. So I had to learn how to use it. And
Mm.
so by virtue of being a broke college kid, I taught myself how to do marketing because I had to. And then
Mm.
it just naturally evolved into getting to do it in the corporate world. And here we are now.
Interesting. So
Yeah.
yours is really like really it's knowledge through the streets and trying to do what you wanted to do because you wanted to have something to sell, and then you realize that holy crap, I got to sell this online. I better figure this out.
Yeah.
So how did you figure that out? Did you read books, go online, watch YouTube videos? What did that look like?
Honestly, self-taught. I
Okay.
majored in I majored in business management in college. Obviously, took some marketing courses, but some of it, I'm sure along the way, I know I've YouTubed how to do stuff.
Sure.
Maybe asked friends in the beginning with Instagram, hey, what should I do? How should I do it? How does this look? How does it work? But honestly, I've always been a learn by doing it type guy,
Okay.
no matter what that is. And you'd be amazed how many nights I look over at my couch because my wife and I have had it for like 12 years that I sat in the same seat and just figured it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Any
Now,
se- any
now that things have advanced, I spend a lot of money on like coaching and personal improvement and stuff. But in the beginning, man, I couldn't afford a $99 course. I was just trying to sell hats.
yeah. Any self-doubt in that time period?
Um, I would imagine probably so. in the
Okay.
beginning. I
Not
can't
nothing that rattled you too much though.
to, no, and to be quite honest,
Mm.
I've worked really hard and now again invested a lot of money in self-improvement stuff, and so my mindset's pretty solid. And so
Mm.
I can remember those days when things were like, like what do I do? Um, it's harder for me to remember how it felt because I just like to lean and fall forward now, you know.
Mm. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Well, props for you for investing in yourself.
Yeah, thanks.
So what made you jump into your own thing? Was there a dislike for culture? Just wanted to be your own boss? What did that look like?
It is the backbone of what I do today and where we're headed, and it's a very, very defining moment for me.
Mm.
If you are one of our clients or if you've been in a meeting with me, you've heard this story. If you're my business partners, you've heard it 1,000 times because it's so solid and it's so I literally remember the moment. So
Mm.
my career evolved how it evolved, and I got an opportunity. I don't know if have you ever heard of Pavati Boats? Okay, so long story short, have you heard of Mastercraft Nautique, like wake surfing boats?
Yeah.
Okay, so right here in Southern Oregon, there's a company called Pavati, and there's three companies involved under one roof, which we can, you know, it's better not explained on this episode. But basically, I got the opportunity to be the marketing director for Pavati. They are the world's first and only, I think, still to this day, 100% aluminum wake surfing boats. Oh, they're hand welded. I mean,
Dang.
oh yeah, the interior is hand stitched. Like they are the polar opposite of mass produced, is the best way I can put it. They're
The
sick.
Bugatti of wake boats, huh?
That is precisely what we used to say in the marketing department.
Interesting.
And anyways, I think when I started, they were selling them at dealers. I'm gonna get it wrong. It was for like 160 grand or something.
Okay.
I worked there for 3.5 years. I think when I left, we were selling them for 350 grand,
Woo.
and I think now they go for 500,000, if I'm not
Wow.
mistaken. So how I got into doing my own thing is I was thankful enough to build the department that built the brand that essentially you see today. I haven't been there for a year, so they've made tons of changes and evolved, and they're doing all sorts of really awesome stuff. It's fun to watch. I got in kind of at the bottom, right? And so I was fortunate enough to have the opportunity to be the marketing director that built this now global brand, built the team that built the
Mhm.
global brand. And what happened is we eventually, and remind you, there was also two other companies under one roof, and I was in charge of all of them. So we grew so fast that I could not hire people in house fast enough to keep up with the demand of work that we had. I can still see that list burned into my head of all the projects that we wanted to get done that we couldn't because I think when I left, there was 11 people reporting to me, and we had no chance at on a daily basis of just keeping up with the demand of whether it was emails that needed built, social media, content production, all of that. And so we hit this critical mass where we had to go the agency route. And we had this tough meeting where it was like, hey, until we can get people in here, stuff's not getting done that
Mm.
we need done. So let's outsource and let's get some additional help in here to kind of supplement what we're doing. And so, and this is going to get a little tricky, but there's good agencies out there, right? There's people that
Sure.
do a great job, and then there's bad ones, unfortunately. And so the story goes, I basically started booking all these meetings with SEO agencies, email agencies, you name it, and local ones specifically. Brought them all in there to interview. They all did the same thing, where they put the little presentation on the board and let's stick to SEO. And they talked about how they can rank us number one in Google, right? And it's like, cool. Now, context is I'm a marketing director that has an in-house team of, let's just call it, there was a dozen of us, give or take. We already know how to do what they're doing. We just don't have time to do it all.
Sure.
So for me, that was a great thing sitting in those meetings, knowing, I know what I know and I don't know what I don't know. We didn't know everything, but we knew enough to know. I mean, in-house web development, right? I mean, we
Yeah.
proprietary built websites. I mean, we were the real deal as a department. And, you get these third parties that come in here that make all these promises and guarantees and claims. And my biggest question was, great, that would be awesome. How exactly are you going to do that? And the answer that I got was, for the most part, it was, well, I'm not going to tell you that because that's our secret sauce. It was some rendition of that statement. And for me, it was, well, you failed the test because we already know how to do it. We just don't have enough time to do it. And it's a red flag for me that you're not going to tell me what you're going to do with my money.
Yeah, sure.
To think, and I see it now in real time, right? Where, people are handing us their credit card and their website credentials, and they're trusting that we're going to do the right things to get the results that they're ultimately after. And so it's a long story, but basically in my head, I'm going, hold on. What do you mean you're going to sit in the conference room and ask for thousands of dollars a month and then tell somebody that you refuse to tell them what it is you're going to do?
Hmm.
And I mean, call it like it is. Like, my business was born in that conference room because I thought, hey, I know how to do this. And I know other people that know how to do it. I hate the word real, but that's what it is. Like, we were doing real marketing for a real company as real employees. And
Yeah.
then I just realized, like, whoa. And to be honest, we hired and fired a handful of them. And that's the experience we got, right? Where it was,
Hmm.
hey, you're not really being transparent and you're kind of hiding data from me. And we realized that within 6 to 9 months, for the most part, there's some good agencies, but that attrition is the agency business model, right? They go and get as many new clients as they can because they know at the 6 to 9 month mark they're going to lose them because of performance and lack of transparency. And
Hmm.
so I just thought, hey, I'm going to go build an agency that is transparent. We have a rule called open computer, which means it's your money. I mean, at any moment you want to log into your Google Ads account, please do it, because I'm not
Yeah.
afraid to show you what we're doing and what we're not doing. And it's been going, it's going good because we've built it on the foundation of being honest and communicating, and that's really where we've found success. And then I've been just blessed enough to get around really awesome people that are super good at what they do, that agree with the vision, that have now become my partners, and it feels good. I can lay my head on my
Man.
pillow at night and know, hey, I'm doing the right thing and I'm communicating and I'm not hiding anything. And lo and behold, we happen to be decent at it, and so business is good.
That's
Yeah.
an amazing story. It's what a real eureka moment of like a mission statement in that one meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yep. Yep. And
Good
then
for
on the
you.
back
Good.
end, yeah,
Oof.
and on the back end now, and I like talking about this because it bothers me. Now, we've evolved enough to where we have our own physical location. We bought a building on a busy road in Southern Oregon. It's fun. We have our own sign. We have our own studio. I'm at home because our studio is being worked on. But we get business owners, specifically, call it mom and pop shops, like people that are hustling to make a living. And it's 2024, man. If you're not on the internet, I mean, you you lose to some capacity. And so
Yep.
what happens is these people don't know any different. They don't understand. They know that they need it, but they know nothing about it. And at
Yep.
this point, in the last 5 years, I have talked to no short of hundreds of people and helped them realize that they're getting screwed
Mm.
because things are happening or not happening, unfortunately, for the right or wrong reasons, and results aren't happening, and they're being told, well, that's because you need to spend more, and that's because you need to be patient and whatever, and they're not getting reports. And then lo and behold, we ultimately take over and realize, like, hey, this SEO agency that you were paying $3,000 a month for was doing nothing but writing travel blogs that have nothing to do with your business and showing you analytics to make it look like you're getting web traffic, but let me guess, you're not making money, right? And
Mm.
so it bothers me,
Yeah.
because I know what it's like to grind, and like, 3 grand for a business that's doing a couple 100,000 a year. I mean, that's a tough check to write, especially
Yeah,
since in
sure.
most cases they know that they need to do it. And so anyways, I have a mission that started, 10 years ago, if you will, to bring transparency to the marketing world. It's super important to
Mm.
me and everybody that I work with.
Man, that's good. I'm relating it to the marketing company I work with, and we get monthly reports. We get month by month contract. Right, there's no long contract. I can cancel it at any time because of that. Because they want to make sure that one, I'm happy and we're getting everything we want. So,
Yeah.
yeah, man. And what you're doing is the language that I'm used to seeing, because I'm with you as a subcontractor to other people. I would never want, the shitty service or the people hiding things that you're talking about. That is
Mhm.
unacceptable behavior on any count. So
Yeah.
yeah, man, that's baller.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah. I appreciate it, man. And I'm happy for you
What's
that
your
you found someone that's good to work with like that. That's awesome.
Yeah, man. It was honestly, it came through my Vistage group, my leadership group. He was a CEO of the marketing company. We hit it off really well, and obviously we were ready for a rebrand and a new facelift, and it was perfect timing, and it worked out. And yeah, I get the transparency and the things I need. So you're doing exactly what people should expect to get from their marketers for sure.
Good. Cool.
That's brilliant. What does your day look like? What do you do on a daily basis?
So I have we're a smaller agency. There's five of us.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
So I'm just now, I guess, in the beginning stages of like an official CEO role. I mean, obviously I'm the CEO of
Sure.
my company, though I don't go off of titles and all that. I'm now a year and a half ish removed from most of the day to day doing the marketing and the ad buy stuff.
Okay.
Right. So I brought in
Yep. Trying to
partners.
get on instead of in.
Yeah. And the truth of the matter is, and I firmly believe this, I've partnered with people that are better than me at what I was doing.
Mm,
So
yep.
that's done nothing but elevate our business's growth and frankly provide a better service to our clients that were already happy. So I feel super good about that. All sorts of things come to mind, the lift your lid, McDonald's Roy Croft thing. Like I've I've intentionally surrounded myself with people that are better than me at certain things. And so my day is now, I'm still doing the sales, right? I'm doing the promotion, the sales of the business. I'm sure you've come up in business as well. So, there's still a lot of things that are, even after 5 years, it's very much in a startup position as far as size
Yeah.
go. Right.
Sure.
So I'm doing a lot. Right. My wife and I purchased the building and we lease it back to to the marketing agency. Right.
Nice.
I remodeled all of it because my wife and I, own real estate rentals and stuff like that. So I have experience doing everything myself, if you will. So my day
Yeah.
is organized, if you will, but I'm doing a lot of different things, a lot of different hats.
Hmm. Yeah, that's good. It's interesting you said that you surround yourself with people who are smarter than you. So obviously you don't have an insecurity issue, which is good in leadership. That's a big plus. With five current people, like how big do you want this thing to get? Do you have a lid or you have a box with four walls that has no lid?
Yeah. To be quite honest with you, you know, my target is always defined, but it changes if I'm being transparent.
Okay.
Because the one thing that I will not do is sacrifice like the quality of service that we provide to people.
Hmm.
So meaning, we will grow slower on purpose because we never want to be the company that just goes and onboards 9 clients at once and then provides a crappy service to all 9 of them.
Yeah.
So I will grow this thing as big as I can get it while making sure that my mission and why I got into this stays true throughout the entire time.
Gotcha.
And to be honest, I mean, we've had growing pains for the first time in 5 years just recently because we're growing and
Yeah.
stuff's fallen through the cracks. And that's, we know that, and that's part of it. Nobody's perfect, but, working through that right now to make sure that the integrity of it all stays the same at scale. So the answer to the question is I'll make it as big as I can make it. I mean, I'll build a 200-person company as long as I can do that and keep the same level of service along the way
Sure.
for everybody that gives us their money.
Yeah, that's so interesting because we're probably complete opposites when it comes to like the type of people who are, because you are a true entrepreneur. You can build something from nothing. I am not that person. I am a manager, defensive or organizer type strategy person.
Yeah.
So I don't have the risk profile to do that kind of thing. I'm more of, once it's done, I can find efficiencies in everything. And I love those tiny wins all over the place.
Yeah.
So what's fascinating about that, and you're pretty much saying like controlled growth, like that's what you want, right? Because control means that you're following your mission, you're keeping in line, you're not overburdening your people, you're not overburdening your customers. Um, what's interesting and what will be interesting to watch will be some of those growing pains of things that you're doing now, whether that's you're really close with all your employees, obviously, because they're five, you're really close with your customers. You probably love that piece of it, especially with the sales piece. When that turns into scalability, what pieces you let go and let in, for other people to truly, truly take. It sounds like you're already starting to do some of that. So that's good.
Yeah.
But I know for entrepreneurs, that's usually that's a tough bag sometimes.
100%. And honestly, that's the toughest thing for me. I've always been just you know, I'll stop when I'm dead, roll up my sleeves. I'll
Yeah.
just do it. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
like the truth is like what, I was working in the corporate world when I started my company, and I woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning, worked from 4 a.m. until 5:45, got in the shower, went to my corporate job, and then went out and
Yeah.
ate lunch out of my lunch pail that my wife and I are into fitness. So I ate my meal prep in my front seat while I was on consulting, and then I'd come home and
Yeah.
hang out with my kid until he went to bed, and then I'd put in 2 more hours, and so yeah, when that's how you build something, there's no doubt that there's they say like, oh, that's your baby, right? Like I don't
Yes.
look at it that way, because I
Sure.
very much want to surround myself, man. I don't, I'm
That's
always looking
healthy.
for somebody that will let me buy them dinner that has more money than me so I can pick their brain, you know.
Yeah.
But ultimately when it's like, hey, this thing's working and now you're going to do it. I mean, there's probably more like a sense of pride and wanting to make sure that the client is not like, hey, how come you're handing me off, right? So,
Yes.
but you combat that by getting the right people in place, and I'm very confident that I've done that.
That's good, man. And I think even just the time and the money you're putting into self development, all that kind of stuff is just gonna. I think that all pays dividends. I don't think I realized that. I mean, everybody probably says, "I wish I would have realized that earlier." Right? I wish I would have read books and like legit books earlier than last year. But now I'm realizing, like, holy shit, I need to read books to stay better. So all of that stuff, yeah, is gonna pay dividends. So that rocks. Good for you.
Read books, man.
Um,
I love books.
yeah, yeah, I was on a podcast and the guy I was on with, he just kept saying leaders are readers. And I was like, man, that is so accurate. I didn't realize how accurate that was until recently. I wish I would have
Yeah.
known earlier, but
Yeah.
can't go back. So what are the services you guys do for your clients? What do you cover?
Full service digital marketing agency.
Okay.
So SEO, pay per click, both Google and Bing. Um, we do a little bit of email marketing and SMS kind of as
Okay.
needed. Though I can't claim that it is if I'm going to go on a platform like yours and talk about it, I need to be honest. We don't really do that one off. We have creative. I have an in-house partner, my creative director. So video, branding, all that stuff. We build websites.
Nice.
And then me personally, the only service that I provide now is consulting.
Okay.
So I'll meet, yeah. So sometimes that's the only service that we provide, where I just consult with them for an hour a week, whether that's on Zoom or in house if they're local. And then for the most part, clients will couple like SEO and PPC, and those kind of work hand in hand together. And then we bring video in as the dark horse to come in and create the awesome content that's ultimately going to be pushed by the marketing dollars.
Okay. That's brilliant. Yeah. So
Yeah.
pretty much full stop if you need anything, and you do all that with five people and yourself, or you are in that five.
I'm in that five if consulting's involved. And so for the
Okay.
bigger
Cool.
clients, it is because so for some of our bigger clients, if you will, that kind of do everything with us, we are either their marketing department, or we're the digital extension of their department. And so
Okay.
that's where
Cool.
the weekly, 30-minute to an hour meeting comes in to just make sure everybody's calibrated and money's going the right direction and things are being pushed the direction that they like. Learn
Hmm.
what's new, good and bad, that kind of thing.
What's been the best part up to this point for you?
Business wise or personally?
Yes. I mean, both. I don't care.
This is an easy answer for me. I love doing something that actually positively affects somebody's life, and being somebody that's personally motivated by money and financial freedom. It's really cool to run a company that when you run a meeting at the end of the month, the client goes, "Holy shit, you made me that much money," right? That's the coolest part for me. I
Gotcha.
mean, the coolest part for me is, are those emails, if you will, or like Christmas time, we give our clients presents and our clients give us gifts and say like, thank you. There's no way what we're doing would be possible without you. That's the best part. It's
Mm.
laying my head on my pillow every night and knowing that we're doing things ethically that are actually impacting people's lives for the better and helping them grow their
Mm.
business. Nothing. I could not imagine doing anything else.
What's the worst part?
Um, the worst part. I don't know. I guess I've never really thought about that. That's a really good question. The worst part.
It's the opposite of the other one. It's not anything crazy.
Yeah. You know what the worst part is for me
Yeah.
is failing quite often to be able
Mm.
to explain to a client what they need to know. Actually, not even a client. Explain to someone that doesn't end up hiring us, and not being able to use the right words to explain to them how badly they need what we do. And because I could just, because everybody thinks about marketing different,
Mm.
right? And between you, me, and the
Yeah.
wall, for the most part, everybody needs it. But
Yeah. Agreed.
they either don't understand it or they've been screwed,
Yep.
right? And so if the number two has happened and they've been screwed, I stand very little chance to convince them that I'm different,
Mm.
right? And that's the worst part. I would actually kind of revise my statement. The worst part is watching how many people could be doing better and could be making more money if things were set up better and they had the right things in place and they had the right mindset, and they maybe didn't have experiences that they've had in the past that are preventing them from moving forward and doing things the right way that's actually going to make their business and life better. That's the worst part. Yeah.
Yeah, you're watching the growth die, and that drives you crazy.
Yeah, or opportunity costs, just literally sit there in a conference room because they're like, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to spend
Yeah.
$20,000 on a complete rebrand, revamp, new website, new whatever. And me sitting there looking at their website traffic versus a competitor's and going, you're getting killed. And if you
Right.
don't do X, you're going to continue to get killed. And 1 year from now, you're going to wish that you did it, but you didn't do it, and now you're still
Mm.
struggling. Like it's not even that we don't get them. It's not even us not getting the money. It's them walking out and going back into the day-to-day grind and working late and getting up early and going like, why can't I? And knowing that there's a solution. Um, and then obviously the worst of the worst of the worst is like what happened a couple weeks ago. A guy, an elderly man and his wife came in and told us that they took out a personal loan because of guarantees made to them by an agency,
Mm.
that they're going to get all these phone calls and personal loan. And they've been paying $1,500 a month for like 6 months without a single phone call. That's awful. Like, it's gut wrenching to me because I'm like, and then they told us their annual revenue and that's what supports their family. And I'm telling you right now, I won't say it, not even close to enough money to be able to survive. Like, there's no way that they're not in serious trouble. And they were like mid 60s.
Oh, so
I
sad.
mean, and the wife was like borderline in tears in there because her husband's working his butt off. And they took a personal loan. I mean, that's the stuff, man. Like it's the worst feeling in the world, going like, there's nothing I can do to help, you know? Because for me to help
Yeah.
you, you would have to probably take out a bigger personal loan to get you out of what they've put you in. And I can't do that. Like, I'm never going to be the last check somebody writes that puts them under.
Yeah. No, I
So
hear that. That's tough.
my answer
Whew.
evolved, but it got to where
That,
it got to where the worst part really is.
no, that's great. Um, what do people get wrong with their marketing approach? What's the overarching? How many times? What is the thing you keep going? Oh my gosh, stop doing this.
Simple answer, and most people are going to hate it. It's unrealistic expectations of $1 in, $10 out. Okay, am I talking to you right now? No,
No.
I'm kidding, I'm kidding. No. The truth of the matter is, people. People underestimate the value of just getting attention and sticking to it over time. At the end of the day, when I teach on stage, I say, if I don't know who you are, you're never going to get my money. Right. So the mistake that people make is they overanalyze, especially early. And I can't blame them. Right. They've either been
Mm,
through things where they thought, promises, whatever, but they don't stick to it. Assuming
yeah.
it's being done the right way with the right people, they don't stick to it. Um, I think. Do you know who Grant Cardone is?
Grant Cardone. I've
Big
heard the
real estate
name.
guy. My opinion, he's the best marketer in the world. Very
Cool.
loud.
Okay.
There's, he goes 50-50 whether or not people. I love him.
Okay.
He's been a mentor of mine. Um, multi-billion-dollar real estate portfolio guy. Everything I know about real estate came from him and one of my close friends. But he says money follows attention. Whoever gets the
Mm,
most attention gets the most money. And where people come up short is they don't stay committed to getting the attention that always turns into money if you run a good business. Always, always, always. The more you do, the more you get known. And the more you get known, the more opportunity you have, like, period. And people make that mistake
interesting.
where they're like, hey, I paid $100. How come I didn't make 1,000? I'm done. And you're like,
Yep.
dude, you didn't even start, Yeah.
It's the long game people don't want to wait for.
It is. It is. Yeah, and I get it. I
Yeah.
mean, I get it, especially when you're a startup or funds are low or whatever. But people drastically underestimate the amount of action that needs to be taken. Whether that's a click being bought, whether that's a a post being made on social every day, whether that's a networking event and maybe doing one extra networking event, whether that's sponsoring a kid's soccer team. I mean, if people don't know who you are, you're never getting their money ever. And so, the more people that know you, the more opportunity you have.
That's interesting. That'll come up. I have more questions around that later, because really personal questions of things I'm going through right now that I think are benefiting both myself and the company. But I want to get your
Yeah,
thoughts on it.
of course.
Um, Marketing industry is unregulated, is what you said on another podcast clip I saw. What do you mean by that? I'm assuming it goes into some of the things we've already talked about.
Yeah, I mean, simply put, I don't, if I built an ad for you, I don't have to get it approved by any sort of central organization that, controls things, right? If I go, I'm real estate guy. So like if I go get a loan, like there's a process for that has to be approved, underwritten, all of that so everybody can understand it. Anybody can start a marketing agency and take somebody's money. Like you can't do that, and you can't sell houses if you don't have a real estate license. You can't lend somebody money if you're not licensed with whatever, you can't represent somebody in a court of law until you've passed the bar exam, right? You can literally pay $36 and take a social media course and tomorrow take thousands of dollars from people and say that you're an expert. And it's completely unregulated, right? You got
Yeah.
agencies out here that are getting people to sign contracts and then they're getting fired and then they're sending an email to the client that fired them saying, hey, we got your email, but by the way, we're holding your website hostage and you're paying us $500 a month, and there's nothing you can do about it because we just took advantage of you and you didn't realize when you signed the contract that we own your website. So you're screwed. So you might as well just keep paying us. It's hugely unregulated across the board.
Scary. Okay, well, that's a scary good answer.
Yeah.
So all of you, watch out for the marketing companies. Make sure you do your research.
And
Put
again,
the
that's
contract through Chat GPT and ask questions of what you should be concerned about.
honestly put the content to ChatGPT. And the thing that I would say to people is the number one way to, kind of vet things, even if you don't know, is if the more questions an agency is asking you about your business, the more legit they are. If
Hmm.
somebody cold calls you or you said it, or you're looking for a PPC company and within the first 5 minutes they hit you with pricing and a contract, run as fast as you can. Right? Because you cannot be good at marketing for somebody unless you have context and you understand their business and you've asked an owner what their margins are and how much they're willing to spend. What's the lifetime value of a customer? What's your average order value? Like, until you know those things, you have no shot at being as good as you possibly could be.
Hmm.
So hire agencies very, very, very slow and make sure that you own everything when you look in the contract.
Thank you.
because I don't want you to come to me in 6 months when somebody basically owns your website and now you have to pay me again to build you one that you own. I hate that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's gnarly.
Yep.
How important is personal branding along with company branding?
I suppose it depends on what you're doing, right?
Okay.
So it's very important to me and us as a team, um, that, you know, so yeah, this is such a good question. Personal branding is important to us because, in this case, I'm the face of the company, right? And people want to
Mm-hmm.
do business with people before they want to do business with companies. Not that they won't do business with a company, but when you're handing someone your credit card number and credentials to your website, you want to do business with a person, right? So
Ah,
I know we do just as much content with me talking about stuff, and this is why I'm on this podcast, right? Building trust is important. One, for conversion and sales and signing contracts and stuff, but also just it makes people feel more comfortable, and it tears down walls and stuff like that. Um,
mm-hmm.
Now, sorry, I thought I had my
No, you're good.
messages turned on. Building a brand that stands on its own is equally as important. And the hard part about that is doing them both at once, because you're talking double bandwidth, if we're really being honest, right? How much content you make and things like that. Um, what I would say though is, if I'm going to personally brand myself, I'm going to wear my company's logo because I want all of my personal branding to funnel directly into my flow, which is my company, right? So no matter what I do, I make sure that people understand that if I'm talking real estate and all the rentals that we own, that they know that I own a marketing agency that makes that possible. So I'm always connecting the dots, if you will. Grant, I'm sure you're going to look up Grant now. He does a fantastic job of that. He's a superstar, like on social and YouTube and whatever. And then he just funnels people directly into his business. So they work together.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's good. I mean, that was the main crux of why I started this podcast. Because one, I hate mixers. I hate social events. I'm an introvert at heart. So this is my way of solving that problem. And two, it gives me a controlled atmosphere to meet new people. And this is kind of like reading books for me. So I don't always I'm reading two right now with book clubs at work, but this allows me to learn more things that I don't understand. And then also obviously meet people and make connections and all that kind of stuff. So and like you said, just the networks of people that I have on and them getting to know that what is Brandon? Oh, SWF Industrial. Oh, they're a metal fabricator. Oh, their website's sick. Oh, their people look cool. Like that, all just like you said, it all feeds the funnel. And that's
Yes.
I heard that multiple times, and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna really, really focus on that in 2024. And I've already been seeing, those things really, really helping not only my personal brand, but also the company brand. So
Especially if the product that you sell is expensive, right? So
it is.
no, I'm
Yeah.
serious, right? Like if you're signing multi-million dollar contracts, like that stuff's not done because your website's sick. Like they are going to have to like you for you to do business, for
Mm,
them to do business with you on a scale like that, right? And so
yeah.
inevitably you're going to have to supplement that somehow if you want a better chance of being successful, right? So it's the reason why I like golf, but it's the main reason why I'm a member at our local country club. Like I want people to know who I am, and I want people to know that
Mm,
I'm nice, and I want people to know that they can trust me and do business with me, and I want people to know that I own this company and what I do is reflected in the work that we do. It's a To some degree it's a cheat code, right? When
yeah.
you, when you have like a personal brand who is your leader, and then you have a company that like acts the same way that the leader does, it's so much easier to do business with that company.
Yeah, that's really good. I don't know if I totally believed it at the beginning of 24, but I'm really focusing on it this year and trying to, I mean, I love YouTube. I've been through 4 channels now, and learning that whole thing has made me really comfortable with video, which I don't think I would be at this point with wanting to do something like this or make our own culture videos at work. Like I don't mind people making fun of me. Like that all got me to this point to be able to do some of this
Yes.
stuff. So I
Yeah.
I do think all those little things add up. Yeah. So, okay. What advice would you give someone looking to grow their personal brand? What are 3 hot takes?
Um, be real.
Ooh.
And I would say I'm just going to assume that everybody that I'm talking to has good intentions, right?
Okay.
Um, and so with those things kind of naturally be take care of, be real, and then understand that you're gonna feel weird when the first time you walk down the road and you got a phone in your face, and like you're gonna get made fun of. Heck, your family might even be like, what are you doing? Right?
Totally.
You are you are stick to the goal. Like define the goal in the beginning, and then just understand that the first 3 videos you're gonna think you sound like the weirdest person on the planet. Because the first time hearing your own voice is like, what? I sound like that, right? I look like that. My eyes do that. I'm a hand guy, right? Yeah, you're relating all this. Just it's funny, the first 6 months, right, is the valley of the shadow of death, because I promise you right now,
Mm.
it's going to feel and literally look like it's not working. And then there's going to come that critical mass to a certain degree moment where you walk into a Mexican food restaurant and somebody goes, I know who you are. You're that marketing guy. And you're going to go, oh shit, it worked. Yeah.
Mom.
Yeah. And then what you're going to say, you're going to look at them and go, then how come you haven't liked and commented on my stuff? Yeah, dude.
Oh,
It's just be real and stick to what you in the beginning you went, if I could just do blah blah and blah for X amount, it's going to work.
hmm.
Right. Because if what you have to say is valuable, people will listen eventually, as long as you keep doing it.
Yeah, that's really good. I think a big discouragement, and I think early on in my YouTube journey, I realized that like, because I got hung up on doing a video that somebody else already did, right? You don't always have to be first because your opinion or your voice is different than somebody who did the exact same subject. And everybody is looking for a different opinion, and there will be people who don't like it, and there will be people who like it. But like you said, attention is tension, and that pays in the end. So you got to get through some of that, and you will have people who completely dislike everything you do, and that's okay. You just keep on rolling.
Yeah.
If your intentions are good, like you said, you have nothing to worry.
Yep.
Yeah,
And the
that's
truth of
good.
the matter
Whenever
is,
I
go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, go
Most
ahead.
most people that naysayer, if you will, are people that want to do what you're doing, but they're too afraid to do it.
I know.
And
I
I can
know.
say that with 100% confidence, because before I started making content and talking about my business and being annoying about what I do, I had a close friend that did the same thing. He still does to this day. And I remember sitting on the couch with my wife being like, all this guy does is talk about work and money and what he does. It's so annoying. But on the back end, I was like, I wish I had the guts to do that. I wish I had the guts to talk about my business and promote what I do and not worry about what my close friends think. And so
Mm.
I know that's what people do, because that's what I did. So it's
Mm.
very easy to recognize when people are doing that. It's true. Like they wish they had the guts to do what you're doing.
Yeah, I one of the best quotes whenever I need to lean on something like that, if I'm catching heat or whatever that looks like from anything, I always remind myself that to don't take criticism from people you wouldn't take advice from.
That's
So
good.
if you wouldn't go to them in a time of crisis, then don't worry about it when you're crushing it either, because they're gonna hate no matter what. So
Yep. Yep.
how do you see marketing changing in the next 5 years?
Gosh. This is a really good question, and it's something that we talk about every day.
You gave me
I,
3 of those already. I'm nailing them.
I see. Well, it's good. The truth of the matter is I see marketing. Let me put it to you this way: the people who are going to win the biggest are the most honest, the most helpful, and the most consistent.
Woo! Most
Right?
honest, most helpful, and most consistent. Oh
And
my
this is
god, that is
this
my
is what
strategy. Let's go.
this is what I mean. Here's a strategy session right here, and I'm gonna take you on a journey. Everybody remembers the pandemic, right? Well,
Yeah.
this crazy thing happened where the world got as digital as it was going to get in the next 10 to 20 years in like 6 months.
Yeah.
Like it just fast. Remember, I mean, you couldn't, if you were a restaurant that you could not take an online order, you went out of business,
Yeah.
literally went out of business. Um, if you were a department store that did not have a good e-commerce presence, you went under. right? If you did not become extremely good at SEO, PPC, email, whatever overnight, like you got hurt bad. Here's the other thing. The government injected money into people's bank accounts that were forced to stay at home. And what did they do? They went and spent it on the internet. And what we saw, one, email marketing came back. That's a story for another time. But the second thing that happened is all of these people that unfortunately had bad intentions took advantage of it. And they started, I'll give you an example. You could buy stuff off of Instagram that never got delivered to you. One, in some cases, because shipping and factories were shut down. But two, scammers had a heyday.
Wow.
They had an absolute heyday. And what it did is it destroyed the trust to some degree of like the digital consumer. And so, and I'll prove this in real time because I don't know what it's been. What is it now? July. It's somewhere in the last year and a half or whatever. This has come full circle, and Google launched what's called the helpful content update. Basically, without getting so far into it, they basically announced to the world the websites that are the most helpful. And they don't explain this, but in my opinion, they're the most honest, they're the most real, and they're the most like customer, we're here to help you centric.
Yeah.
Those are the websites that are going to get ranked moving forward.
Is that B2C only, or is that all?
We're talking like SEO. They launched the helpful content update, which basically, here's what happened. If you're doing this, say your organic search is flatlined. Some people went boom because they did crappy SEO and they did, and then the websites that had content on it that actually answered people's questions and helped them get the solution to their problem, they went like this overnight. So that is a digital example of where I'm saying that I believe this is heading. Like people nowadays, when's the last time you logged on to your phone and didn't have just a zillion things thrown at you? Right? Like people have built up like a callus to like getting hammered by marketing and promotions more now than ever because of all the digital noise that's out there. And so they are way more weary and they're slower to buy and whatever. So the world, at least from what we've seen, is like in desperate search of companies that they can feel comfortable with giving their money to. Right? So we've proven this too in our business. I mean, we donate our time to the Chamber of Commerce and run Q&As and masterminds for free to local businesses to help them because they need it. And then what we do helps them. And then they come back later and say, hey, I'd like to pay you because you actually helped me.
Yeah.
Right.
Awesome.
So I just highly encourage people sometimes it's not about the super secret tactics, like just help people. Answer questions on your website that are going to make people's lives better. If you own an HVAC company, teach somebody how to fix their HVAC without calling you. One, they're going to remember you if you saved them $5,000. Two, they're probably not going to be able to fix it themselves anyway, and they're going to end up calling you. So be helpful.
Yeah, it's really good. It's so interesting. We had a new customer in just last week, and I asked him how he found us, and he said because they were just moving to market to the U.S. actually, and they were looking for metal manufacturers in the U.S. And he said I typed in metal manufacturers, started working down through the list, and you guys are the only ones who called me back, were mature enough to call me back, and stayed consistent with your feedback. I was like, what? Like all the things in the world, that was the last thing I would have thought about, of people just doing the people thing. Just do the right thing. Our BD kind of internal measure is under 2 hours. We got to get back to the customer, right? Even if it's, we receive this, it's getting to our team. We'll get you an answer as soon as we can, like that kind of stuff. Cause it's important because people, like you said, we are constantly rolling right now. And that's really what it came down to. And we're talking like big money items that guy was just looking for help. And it was like, okay, all right, showed up to our shop and we had a great tour, and it's going to turn into hopefully a long-standing relationship. But like, you're right, just solve problems for people because there's so much noise right now.
They just want to be helped, right? And if you could solve their problem, you get the money.
Yes, that's exactly it. Yeah.
And then if you can do it and be a good person and be honest and be easy to work with and be easy to do business with, They stay
Yeah.
for a much longer period of time than they otherwise would.
Yeah, the maturity word came up quite a bit. We have a pretty mature project management approach to our projects because we're talking, like you said, a lot of money. It's very complex, and people, our customers, want to know how it's going, right? So you gotta give that feedback, and you gotta have control, and they want to know that their their projects are going well. So that's good.
Congratulations. That's
Um, how, yeah, thanks, man. I was super. I mean, the team just absolutely slayed it. I had nothing to do with it. They did an awesome job, and it was all on them. How does AI going to affect the marketing sector? I know it's already started. Can you see that evolving even more?
yeah. We use it every day.
Cool.
Uh, it's either going to help or hurt people. I think everybody should use it.
Hmm.
My wife runs a winery, and she got it. She uses AI sometimes to like come up with like winemaker dinner ideas. Right? It's incredible. I mean, it is such an awesome tool.
It's an idea factory.
Oh man, and it's a time saver. It's incredible. You can
Yeah.
train a computer how to literally do marketing, well, at least write copy and whatever. Be careful though,
Mm.
because there's this new ability now to create content at scale. I mean, I don't know the numbers, so this is arbitrary. There's hundreds to thousands times more content being produced on the internet today because of AI. Um, the problem is if you use AI and you don't train AI to basically stay on brand, you could go a very, very, very long ways in a short period of time away from being real. And Google is going to notice that, and so will your customers.
Mm.
Right. So, real life example for us, we might research a piece of content for a metal manufacturing company. How much does a ton of whatever metal cost? Right. We might say, hey, there's a bunch of search volume for this. We figure it out. We figure out all the subtopics. Right. Here's how to do SEO.
Yep.
Right. One of the ways to do SEO. Right. People who also ask how much does aluminum cost? They might also ask how much does it cost to deliver it? How is it manufactured?
Yep.
Is there things that are harmful in aluminum? Right. You build this piece of content, you chuck it into AI. ChatGPT makes this piece of content. Where most people go wrong is they huck it on the internet. What they don't do is
Yep.
go back in and either help train ChatGPT over time, or at the very least, I'm going to give it to you, who is my client, and say, hey, make sure that this is, this
Sounds
sounds
legit.
like
Yeah.
your company, right? That's something that people don't realize they're hurting themselves with, because I believe that there's going to come a point someday where Google, specifically in terms of organic search, is going to look at these websites that went from 8 pages to 5,000 in 6 months and realize that it's all a bunch of auto-generated shit that has no like helpfulness to it, right?
Yeah.
And so it's AI is changing the world really, but it's changing marketing and digital and content for the better and or for worse if you don't use it the right way.
Yeah, I think that's really good. I totally agree. I think authenticity is going to reign supreme because, like you said, all of these content makers who are only using AI and faceless things and things like that, people are going to, I think, jump over things to get to real people and real reviews. Like I have a travel review channel. I see tons of Instagram posts, right, around travel reviews and just making AI generated videos and photos and all that stuff. Like my stuff's I was there, like I was holding a camera, right? And I think people are going to get really drawn into the grainy, not the perfect, not the picturesque, because they know that, oh my gosh, someone was actually there. I can actually listen to them. So I'm hoping, at least. I guess we'll see.
People will figure that out naturally, and then Google's getting just about as smart as a human brain. Like Google reads websites like human beings now, right? And like
Yeah.
people don't want to watch AI stuff. They want to watch real stuff. And so like you have to there's a time and place for it in the
Yeah.
long
No, I
if
agree.
you want long-term longevity and success.
I'll give you a choice:
Okay?
Instagram, LinkedIn, or YouTube. Which one's your favorite? Which one do you feel like you know the best?
That I know the best. Instagram.
Okay. What's your strategy for Instagram? This is more of a
Uh
personal question because I need help with it.
okay. All right. So first I will say it's different for everybody,
Okay.
right? 100%. So what is your goal? Like, what do you want to accomplish?
Yeah, maybe that's my problem. I
There
think
you
it's to supplement probably my YouTube channel. So just to put awareness out of the long form videos that I make that are around the travel channel.
go. Okay. So, I mean, basically 30,000 foot strategy for you is putting smaller pieces and snippets, if you will, that are as relatable as possible
Okay.
about the bigger thing that you did on the other channel to build more of a bite size consumption following on Instagram that, you know, if it's made to support the YouTube channel, that eventually that funnels like, hey, you thought this was cool, like here's the full thing
Gotcha.
on my YouTube channel, right? So putting stuff on people on Instagram, they are desperately searching, whether they want to admit it or not, they're desperately searching for things that make them stop searching so they can watch it for 15 or 30 seconds. And that's what Instagram, I should have said first, do what Instagram wants you to do. Don't do what you want to do. Do what Instagram wants you to do. They want you to build bite-sized pieces of content that make people stop. And if you could
Okay.
do that, they're going to serve people your stuff and stop people more often to show you to show them your stuff.
Okay.
Right?
Get them
I
to
made a
stop.
viral video on some golf Instagram page that I made a couple years ago for fun that I don't really mess with anymore. And I had a video that got like 20 million views, and people were like, dude, you made a viral video. How'd you do it? And I was like, honestly, I just kept making content that I knew Instagram wanted me to make, and one of them went nuts.
Mm.
And it resulted in thousands and thousands and thousands of followers because one, I got lucky, but two, I just kept doing what Instagram wants me to do. Post content that's
Okay.
relatable and funny in that case.
Okay. Get them to stop. Understood. That's brilliant.
Yep.
I love that simplicity. We talked a little bit about this. How important is authenticity to you, either for brands, your personal brand, or whatever? What does that look like?
Authenticity is important to me, to be quite honest. It starts with my moral compass, if I'm being honest.
Hmm.
I don't, I struggle with this, to be quite honest with you, because there's things that I could probably do that are a little bit more clickbaity, make people stop. I just, yeah, I mean, this is a tough question for me. And it's something that we talk about internally all the time because we're like, hey, what if you
I
did this
bet.
and you pushed buttons and you did that and you know, and I'm like, man, I don't feel good about that.
Yeah.
Right. So like I would rather have this is crazy. I would rather have like a smaller following that actually trusts me and wants to do business with me than have a bunch of people that think that I'm just this show stopping guy that you have to watch.
Hmm.
Because the truth is, once you sit in my conference room and consider paying my company thousands of dollars a month, I need you to not think that I'm just this gimmicky guy. Because then because if you think that I'm that and I convince you to do business with me, now I'm spending all of my time working with you, trying to convince you that I'm actually the right person for it. And I'm not just this make noise character that got you into the conference room because I tricked you into it.
Yeah, and I think that plays into everything is funneling to your company. So I think you have to be very conscious of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because not everybody would see maybe the personal brand aspect of a certain post that you're going after and how that it would affect the other ones. Yeah, I think that's really good.
And I also, have you ever met a celebrity that was rude?
No, I don't think so.
Have you ever like heard somebody say, "Oh yeah, I met that guy. Like he was mean," right?
Oh
On
yeah.
the flip side of that, have you ever either met a celebrity or known somebody that was like, "Oh yeah, I ran into so and so in Vegas. Such a nice guy," right?
Yes.
The more attention you get, the more opportunities are going to naturally happen for that. And I want to be the person. I'm not famous, but I want to be the person. But we run ads, and my face is all over stuff, at least locally. I want to be the person
Yeah.
that when you run into me at dinner, you go home and you're like, "That Juggernaut guy that's always wearing that red hat was so nice."
Yes.
Right? Like personally, like I would. But then there's the tough part. Like you're never going to be a hero in your own hometown. Like people are going to think what they're going to think. But if I can just be
Right.
authentic and real and nice and honest, I don't have to. I don't have to go to bed later and be like, "Oof, why did I say that certain thing that way?" Like to get a certain result. I'd rather just be honest.
Yeah, man, I'm with you. I think like one of my favorite celebrities slash YouTubers slash whatever people want to call him, like Casey Neistat, I feel like has one of the greatest. like everybody seems to like he's best friends with his UPS man. Like, like that tells you like how authentic he is, and everybody like screams his name when they see him if people do know it, but he's not out for that, right? He just makes really good vlogging videos. That's what he did for so long. But like I'm with you. Yeah, that's really good. I do think the attention will bring obviously the naysayers and people will say things, but I think if you're always leading with your best version, then that's really all we can do. And we
Mhm.
will make mistakes by putting ourselves out there for sure. We'll say things that we probably didn't mean it in certain ways. That stuff will always happen, but that's kind of the falling forward thing, right? You just kind of keep trying to get better.
I don't think I'll ever regret being authentic.
Mm.
I could
Woo!
I could
Nice.
potentially regret not being authentic and then having something fall apart on the back end because it was built on a non-authentic foundation,
Mm.
right? Like I would much rather have less and be authentic than have more and be wondering when people are going to figure me out.
Yeah, that's good. That's
Yeah,
good.
they'd be constantly looking over my shoulder. I don't want to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. No. Just
Yeah.
like, when YouTube people are famous for that, where it's got to be exhausting being someone you're not for hours on end, right? Like streamers are notorious for that and things like that in video game world. And then it's like, you take the mask off, it's like, it would have to be exhausting to turn the camera off and be like, oh, I can be myself now. Like, that's got to be crazy.
Yeah. It's tough to manage.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. Tyler, that is all the questions I have. This was freaking brilliant. I want to give you the stage. Tell everybody, tell the 5 people who listen everything you got going on and where they can find you.
Yeah, best place you can find me is Tyler J Lake on Instagram, and in there you'll find the link to our marketing agency, Juggernaut Marketing, and we're Go Juggernaut on social platforms. More than anything, appreciate the follow, appreciate the support, and you can expect from us just nothing but helpful content. Whether you pay us or not, our mission is to just make sure that as many people as possible have the right information, because I believe it can help your business and life um,
Hmm.
be better. So I really appreciate the opportunity, and congratulations, man. This is cool.
Thank you. Well, thank you for coming on. One, you didn't know me prior, so I haven't had a whole ton of guests that I haven't known before. So, one, thanks for kind of throwing your name in the hat and
Heck
throwing
yeah.
out a limb. You've said it multiple times, and I just want to make sure I reiterate it to everyone. Like, if you're new to branding or social media, or you're not sure what to post about, just solve people's problems. He has said this 100 times in this podcast, and it is that simple. I did not come to the realization much farther than late 2023. But if you have knowledge of something, someone probably doesn't, just start posting about it and help
Mhm.
solve their day. And you will be amazed at how many people will appreciate that. I don't get tons of them, but every so often I'll get a DM that's like, hey, I really needed that today, and that is life changing. When you can just help somebody you don't even know out, it's brilliant.
I agree. There's nothing better than running into somebody that you know or don't know in a restaurant and them saying, "I watch all of your videos and I agree with everything you said." Like,
I
and
definitely don't get those.
you will, you will if you keep doing it, man.
Well, this is awesome, dude. I learned so much. Thank you so much, and I will be certainly talking to you in the future. So great job. Thank you.
Right on, man. Thank you.